What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Blackstone Labs YouTube channel. I am Kristen Graham, one of Blackstone's athletes, and I am doing something a little bit different today other than being in the gym like I usually am. Today we're actually going to pull a clutch of eggs from a snake that just laid, and I'm going to show you the process that we go through at SFB Exotics, one of the companies that I own. We were counting before. We believe she has 6 eggs in there, so it's going to be my job to get the mother off of the eggs, which can be a little dangerous because they do get very protective of their babies. But this does need to happen because in the wild, a lot of times the eggs will roll out from under the mother doesn't eat, so we end up with a sick mother, and we end up with eggs that are not viable by the end of the incubation period.
What is up, everybody? My name is Chris Graham. I'm Kristen's husband, and I'm the other half of SFB Exotics. So to touch on what Kristen is saying, in the wild, a large percentage of these eggs will not go full term and they will not hatch. So we try to provide optimal conditions and optimal settings to guarantee that all of these eggs will go full term and they will all be happy and healthy little babies.
So it looks like she finished laying, so what I have to do before I move forward is make sure that there's no eggs left inside her because they can get jammed. So we have to make sure that there's nothing left. So I have to actually check her out, and she seems to be pretty clear.
Yeah, it's very important to make sure that none of the eggs are stuck inside of her and all of the eggs successfully came out of her.
So we weigh her and then put her in a separate container away from the eggs while we pull the eggs and put them where they're going to be for the next 57 or so days. But first we have to prep the egg box.
What we'll do now is put the mother inside this temporary enclosure. We'll go and finish collecting the eggs, and then we'll go and thoroughly clean her enclosure before we put her back into it.
So first I add water, and then I add the vermiculite until it's the correct consistency.
So when it comes to creating the egg boxes, a lot of people do it slightly different ways. This is just a way that we have done it in a way that's worked for us successfully. So we just do the mixture of the water and the perlite, or water and vermiculite, and have had great success so far with that.
Of course, Chris is here to help because this is very much his project that I am getting my hands dirty in. So we have to mix it all up. Get down and dirty.
So once we mix the water and the perlite together, we'll put a piece of light diffuser on top of that, and then the eggs will sit on top of the light diffuser just to make sure that they don't get oversaturated or get too wet during the incubation process.
Then we put the grit in, and this is going to keep the eggs dry. And since the eggs seem to be pretty flat, where we don't even have to pull them apart, we can just move them right into the egg box. This is actually a pretty easy pull compared to the last one that I had to do.
Once the eggs are laid, they actually start to stick to one another. And when we move them into the egg box, as long as none of the eggs are touching the side walls of the Rubbermaid or the lid, they can stay attached the way they are. Otherwise, as long as they're not touching the walls and they all fit inside the Rubbermaid, they can stay attached, and that's fine.
And if you remember from one of the other videos that we did with Blackstone, we had another clutch that had laid, and we showed you guys the candling of the eggs. So we always candle them before we put the egg box in the incubator. This way then we can tell that there's viable eggs. So right now we're just looking for the veins. And they all look viable, which is awesome.
And what we're also looking for is to make sure that there's no infertile eggs, because if there's an infertile egg attached in that clutch, it'll start to rot and go bad. And we don't want that to happen and affect any of the other good eggs that are surrounding it. So we want to make sure that all the eggs that go into the incubator are fertile and healthy.
So then we're going to use some press and seal, and we're going to seal the egg box, and then we're going to place the lid over top. This is going to keep the moisture in. And then we have our very own homemade incubator. Of course, I have to enter the information on the box, the lay date and the cut date. Very important. So this hatch date is going to be September 23rd, which also happens to be Kylie's birthday, my little girl. So she's gonna have a great big birthday present and seeing some new snake babies born.
Our incubator is set up to a thermostat and set at exactly 88 degrees. The eggs will sit in the incubator for approximately 60 days from the day that they're laid. Once that 60-day mark comes around, the snakes will then pip through the eggs, and they'll use their little tiny egg tooth on the tip of their nose, and they will start to cut through the eggs and make their way out of the eggs.
This same mother gave birth to this snake last year. So this is our second clutch from this particular snake. So this was one of our holdbacks. So this holdback was a killer clown. And a big bonus surprise, we just had that last clutch of 9 that we showed you guys in that video. They hatched a couple days ago. So I wanted to show you guys what actually came of the eggs that you guys saw us candle about a month ago. So we have 9 babies here. They're tiny little snakes. But they are beautiful. I always get so nervous holding the babies because their feeding response can be a little bit more aggressive than a older snake because they're not familiar with what's going on yet. So this is more likely when you can get bit. But I still, to date, have not been bit by any snakes. Or I guess they call it tagged. I haven't been tagged by a snake yet. And it's been a couple years, so I've been pretty lucky. Thank you for watching the video. Definitely check out SFB Exotics on Instagram and be sure to follow my channel, youtube.com/Kristen Graham. I hope you guys had as much fun with this egg pulling as I did. This was nerve-wracking and very exciting for me. I'm getting my hands dirty in the snake business more and more, so this was fun. And I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. And I'll see you guys next time.